Okay, we'll get started here. This is about a technology that we call crystal ball. That came from a coined phrase, as it were, in the recent gold room, and it means that there's a way to predict fairly accurately what something's going to do, like looking into the crystal ball of stocks. There's obviously no such thing as 100% certainty, but we're coming pretty close these days, and you'll see that in a little while. Now, before I continue, I want to share a few things with you that normally I wouldn't share, but this will explain a lot of why we're making some fairly significant changes. What you see here is our business record, GARS World, from about the time it started in about 2001. And as you see here, this the business sales like ramped slowly, then they really spiked sky high around 2010, 2011. A lot of that came after the financial crash. A lot of people were looking for alternative ways to make money on stocks, and they came to us, and we did really well. But then you notice then after a few years later, everything just crashed. And believe me, we tried everything, different advertising, promotion, incentives, website changes, nothing worked. People just were not interested in these products, period. And when they were, the problem with it we had is that people would not know how to trade, but they'd get the product, get excited about it, and they'd lose their ass and they'd leave. And this is what was going on over and over and over. So the one thing I discovered upon analysis is that our peak period was when we were selling webinars in our training academy. In other words, we weren't selling product, we were selling information, which was very valuable. Oddly, the people that did all that went through these courses and webinars, etc., most of them are still with us today. Everyone else is not. Well, what does that tell you? The other problem was this era here is when the smartphone got really popular. Everyone and their mother was doing internet on these phones. And which is fine, except that we don't have anything running on the phone, so nobody ever uses us, or for that matter, they wouldn't even find us. Because even if they found the website on their smartphone, they wouldn't be able to download anything. So it killed the business, basically. So the analysis of this business up and down, riches to rags, is that training and education sell better than products. Site and products have an historic perception of day trading. This is another problem that we were having all those years, is that no matter what we did, everyone still perceived us as day traders. Most of that is the fault of the forum itself, because the people that chat a lot on the forum do lots of day trades, and that was the perception. And the problem, there's nothing wrong with day trading. I've done a lot of it myself. The problem with day trading is that it doesn't work. I mean, it works sometimes it doesn't, but everyone I know who's lost their ass on stock trading got into day trading and just lose. It's because it's just everything's just too volatile, and it takes tremendous discipline, and you have one bad day and you get wiped out, that kind of thing. So that was another issue. And I mentioned the thing about the smartphones. That was another issue, that we didn't support that. And the business model as is cannot continue. We can't. We can't support the products with one sale a month kind of thing, And by the way, the reason I'm telling you all this is just so you understand, because most of you, it's not your problem, really. But just so you understand why we're going to make some changes the way we are. Model changes, business model changes, effective immediately. Number one, we're no longer going to sell products. No products are for sale. They'll continue to work, of course, and be supported, so don't panic, but are no longer going to be available as standalone products, at least not for new people. The site is converting to a training center, an all-new academy. There's going to be a whole new trading academy with lots of new information. It's going to be the culmination of everything we've done over the last 10 years. In other words, people that want to continue this stuff are going to learn how to roll their own. You won't need stock picks. You won't need a gold room. You won't need a forum. You'll be able to do this on your own. The methods are going to be geared also to longer term trading and low risk portfolio management. No more day trading at all. And the only all day trading ideas will shift to smartphone apps. We will do some new smartphone apps, but they're going to be geared to the day trading gambler types, which will be very interesting. That'll produce a nice little revenue stream to support our products that people are using. Now let's get to the crystal ball. The crystal ball is actually a product called Optionality Pro. Now, this is going to be confusing to some people that have been around a while, but we used to have a product called Optionality Pro. This is not it. This is a whole different product. They have almost nothing in common, except they both deal with options. Optionality Pro is really a close cousin to a PowerScan Pro, which a lot of you use and like a lot. Optionality Pro is very similar, except it deals exclusively with options. Optionality Pro is geared, number one, it's geared for longer term portfolio management, not options gambling. The crystal ball, quote unquote, is enhanced technology for super accurate longer term prediction. I'm going to show you that. Market replay for options. Now that is remarkable because none of our other products, for that matter, and nobody's product that I'm aware of, can do market replay with options. We're talking full option, and spreads and all that. Go back 3 weeks, replay the market and trade options, see how you do. It's absolutely outstanding. And risk reward calculations on chosen trades. What do I mean by that? Well, it means given the rating of the stock, because we have a rating system, remember the crystal ball, it'll compute what the best trades are. What's on a scale of 0 to 100, is the risk reward worth it? That kind of thing. And it's all built into this thing. And the reason for this product, by the way, since we're going all training, no more product sales, we'll still have products. The difference is the products won't be available to anybody unless they do the training courses, in which case they get access to all of our products for no cost. And the hub of this training material is going to be Optionality Pro. That's the purpose of this thing. Some of you are going to say, but Gar, I don't trade options. I've heard a lot of you guys say that. For a number of reasons. Like some people, options scare them. Other people, they don't understand them or whatever. For whatever reason, if you feel that way, I want you to think again. Because if you're trading stocks, you obviously have a decent account size, because you can't trade stocks on, like, say, $1,000 account, because the commissions alone will eat up all of your gains. So you got to have a decent account to be doing only stocks. And so you really want to do long-term portfolio management. If you do, then you'll get way better results if you get into selling covered calls in addition to just trading stocks. Buying protective puts. Well, what's that? Well, protective put is an ironclad way to have a hard stop on your losses. So it's mathematically impossible to go beyond that. One of the worst nightmares. In fact, I had a guy say this the other day. He said, Gar, I know day trading is not necessarily that good, but I just can't stand to hold a stock overnight. I know why. I know why he feels that way, because there's times when the stock has bad news, and overnight there's nothing you can do about it. The stock, plummets like, 19%, and there's nothing you can do. So even if you had a stop set, let's say at 5%, you're still screwed, because the stop is knifed right through it. The stop doesn't kick in until the market opens, so you're screwed. Another problem with regular stops is that you've seen it 100 times. The stock spikes down momentarily, takes out your stop, and then rallies right back. Very maddening. A protective put, however, is different. That means you buy a put option somewhere out of the money at some level that you're willing to go, and then go no further than that. What happens then is that becomes an absolute ironclad stop. For example, you own a $50 stock. You don't ever want to go lower than $40 in that thing. If you do, you want to bail, or you don't want to lose anymore. If you put a $40 stop on it, that's fine, except what happens if the stock has super bad news and it plummets 25% and it goes to like 30? You've now gone way over below 40 and you're really screwed. If you had a $40 put option, two things you could do. Number one, you sell the put option after it's way below the 40 for all kinds of profit. It makes back all the money you lost below 40. Or you just let the option reach expiration and exercise it. Then you can sell the stock at 40. So if the stock plummeted to 25, since you own the put option, you have the right to sell that stock for 40. So it's an absolute stop that'll never be taken away from you, no matter what the stock does. Anyway, I don't want to go on too much about that. We'll get really into that in the Trading Academy. But so buying protective puts is something you got to look into. And then there's also low risk credit and debit spreads. That should be a very big part of your long-term portfolio management. You can milk money out of the market day after day, week after week, doing almost nothing. It's pretty unbelievable. Using these three methods above, you will substantially increase your returns and at relatively low risk. Now, on to the actual Optionality Pro, which I will show you right now. There it is. Now, at first you're going to notice it looks a lot like PowerScan Pro. Well, because I said it's a close cousin to PowerScan Pro. One of the major differences, though, is that the stock list is only the stocks that have weekly options. Every stock in this list has a weekly option, and there are about 400 of them or so, 400 stocks. So we've taken every stock with weekly options and put it in this product. No other stock is in the list. The reason we did it that way is because you really want to trade weekly options. Not that you necessarily want to go week to week, but they're just more liquid. They get more action, and you can make a lot better decisions. And believe me, all the really big names have weekly options, so there's no loss there. When you click on one, it shows you the option chain in this box below. So you click on Apple Computer, for example, there's AAPL, and it's showing me all the calls and all the different expiration dates and strikes. If I wanted a paper trade one, I'd click on it. Let's say I want to trade that one, and then I click paper trade, and it takes me to the paper trader and fills it in, etc. Pretty slick. Now, here's a real powerful feature. First of all, I can handle either paper trader or just looking at the odds. I can handle either straight options, credit spreads, or debit spreads. Whatever I do, when I click on a stock, it gives me data that's very important. Let's just do straight option. In this case, it's telling me how much it'll cost me per contract if I buy at market. And it tells me how much premium I'm paying, and then how much intrinsic value I'm paying. The intrinsic value is how much the stock is in the money. In this case, I'm paying a $36 premium for the contract, and I'm paying $144 for the intrinsic value. Now, let me find one that actually registers. I see one of the problems is I don't have enough expiration date time. Let me go to a higher expiration date. Yeah, I see the problem here. Hold on a sec. Yeah, what I want to show you is that it computes various odds. One reason it's not computing odds for me because Apple's rating is a 0. It means it's null. It means it doesn't know which way it's going to go. Let's do this one. ABBV, pretty good high rating of 88. The ratings, by the way, is the crystal ball. It's a good predictor. If it's from 0 to 100, or actually minus 100 to plus 100, 100 being the absolute best and the minus 100 being the worst. And if you want a bear type trade, then you want to go minus. Anyway, let's look at this one. Stock's trading at $59. Let's click on a $60 call. Okay, it's giving me the actual odds. I'm selecting a debit spread. It's telling me that the win probability before expiration is 88%. That's the probability of getting any kind of win out of this trade before expiration. Doesn't mean I'm going to get any particular percent. This means it's going to be a greenie. I'm going to get something out of it. And it's telling me it's 88% chance. That's pretty good. As far as a risk reward ratio, it's saying that's also an 88. That's just a number. Like 0 is nothing and 100 is really good. And it's telling me that the worst case is I lose $25 per contract. That's the maximum loss, but maximum gain is also 25. So it's got a 50-50 win or loss, but it's got an 88%. So that's a really good deal. So that might be tradable, you see. Now, here's where the real crystal ball comes in, really nice. There's an actual icon here called crystal ball. What this does is this will walk through every single option. I mean, and there's thousands and thousands of them because there's 400 stocks and they all have a whole bunch of strike prices and expiration dates and puts and calls. This will walk through all the options and compute the risk ratio values of every trade, and it'll sort them by risk reward value so you can see what the best trades are. Yeah, and this is in real time. So let's take debit spreads, and you can do either bullish position or bearish position. Let's do bullish, so let's go update. It's going to take a couple minutes because it's got to walk through thousands and tens of thousands of options and compute the data. It's got to get it off the web. So it's still thinking and thinking and thinking. It should come up in a second here. Come on. God, there must be a ton of them. Ah, there we go. Voila. Oh, these are some really high ratings. It's giving us some 99ers in here for risk reward. GDX, it likes GDX. It likes $28 calls for debit spread. 28. You buy a $28 call, sell a $28.50 call. Expiration the 22nd of April. Let's take a look at GDX. By the way, when you want to look at a chart in this product, you double click. Okay, I can see why it likes GDX because it's breaking out. You see that up there? Yeah, all right. So that'd be a very interesting play, wouldn't it? And then let's look at this one here. Yeah, that one's also breaking out. So it likes breakouts. It's saying if something breaks out, it's got a really, really good risk reward. This is a very beautiful and powerful feature, this crystal ball list. If you want a paper trade one, you go paper trade. Now, like I said, options have market replay. You can't beat that, folks. Let's do one. I want to give you an example. Let's go back to March 1st. I'm sorry, March 4th. I want to show you, this is pretty spectacular. I did this earlier today and it just amazed me. Gotta wait for the data. Okay, the data just kicked in. I want to start. Okay, we're running on March 4th. This is the opening bell. And You don't have to do market replay. Of course, it's live real time when the market's open. You can also go back into past sessions. It's now playing. And it's changing various colors. Somebody asked me the other day, what are those colors for? I said, that's just flags that you can set in preferences. I can show you that later if you want. But here, let's stop it here. Let's sort by rating. Let's see here. Yeah, it had to settle down. The data had to settle, so it's settled. The top score is XLU. I looked at that on that day, and I noticed that the chart looked really good. So you look really carefully at it, it has a lot of nice room to run. So I like it a lot, and it's got a really high score. And let's go with it. Let's go XLU, paper trade. Oh, I already have it on there. Okay, because I did this earlier. See, I traded it today, the 4th of March, and all I do to check see how I did is I go a few days ahead. Let's go a few days ahead to the 8th. That's 2 sessions from now, so we can see how we're doing. That's how I like to test these things. I go to a previous market date, set up my trades, and then skip ahead a couple of days. Remember, these days we're emphasizing longer term trades. None of this day trading crap. You just set it up, go a few days ahead and see how you did. And if you did well, remember what you did and how you figured it out. If you do poorly, find out why. Figure out where you went wrong, and you'd be amazed how you can improve your skill. Okay, let's start this day up a little bit. And look at that, we're up 100%, 101%. That's not a bad deal, eh? Let's skip ahead another day, see if we did even better. Let's go to the 9th. This is like craziness. The reason I chose that is because A, it had the highest score for that day. You know, the ratings, the crystal ball rating. And B, the chart looked really good. You need those too, by the way. You can't just go blindly off the score, although you almost can. I'm going to show you that in a couple minutes. All right, we just skipped a day. We were up 100%. Let's see if it's either more or less. I'm just letting it run a little bit here. So make sure the market kicks in. Okay. Let's check it out. Oh, look at that. It's up a mere 190%. That's insanity. Anyhow, you get the idea. Now, that's not going to happen every time, of course. But believe me, if you do 190% trades, it's going to be very difficult to lose as long as your money discipline stays in. All right. Remember I said you can't do them blindly? You almost can. I'll show you why. Let's go to a date. Let's go back to the 4th. Because we know that date. I've done this like 6, 7 times, and it comes out almost the same every time. It's phenomenal, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. We're back at the 4th, and we're going to start the market. And let's let the data settle out here. It's settling out now. All right. Now, I'm going to take, okay, now it finally settled. I'm going to take the top several highest scores. The one, well, first of all, let's go do this. Let's go to my watchers. I'm going to clear these out. This is a watch list. I'm going to clear those. just so we know what we're doing. How do you get the watchers? You go up to the list menu and you select My Watchers, but you can add to watch list. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's take the top 7 scores and just blindly add them. Now, those 7 are now added to the watch list. Now, why am I doing this? I want to see how we do just blindly picking the top scores. There they are. They all show 0 gain, 0 loss, but of course they do because we just posted them. But now let's go. Let's skip ahead. Let's skip ahead. We'll go from the March 4th to March 10th. Let's see how we did so far after about a week hold. All right. Get the market rolling. Okay. My watchers. Okay, look at that. Now, we have one giant loser there, which is unfortunate, but we have all green except 2 stocks. One's a huge loser and one's just a tiny loser. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stocks of 3% or more gains, and one that's flat, and then one that's slightly down and one that's hugely down. By the way, the one that is hugely down would have been a great candidate for a protective stop, like a protective put. What's interesting is that the ratings weren't all that good. Remember, the ratings went from like around 70 to 90, and we have a good solid 80% gain, 80% win rate on that. So that's about right. But I did this over and over and over. Just took the top 7, 8, 9, 10 rated stocks on any given market day, and it just is phenomenal how well they did, just blindly choosing them. So imagine if you did that and then analyzed it even further by looking at the chart, considering other factors, et cetera, et cetera. It's really, really hard to beat. I wonder if there's anything I haven't showed you. Oh yeah, those colors, by the way, those color rows, you control that with preferences. In preferences, that you just click that icon down there. In this bottom section, there's all kinds of different flags you can turn off and on. For example, you can have it flash a special color when the stock reaches a session high. You can have it flash a special color when it reaches a session low, all that sort of thing. And I think that's about all I need to show you now. Prices, etc. on this Optionality Pro. First of all, Optionality Pro is an extension of PowerScan Pro. It's part of the same package. It's a different physical product, but it's part of the same thing. In other words, it does not, you don't buy it by itself. If you own PowerScan Pro, if you own PowerScan Pro already, a lot of you do, Optionality Pro is $0, no cost. You just download it and run it. If you want Optionality Pro, you need to own the non-free version of PowerScan Pro, or you can enroll in the Trading Academy. And remember, we're not going to be selling any more products. We only sell training, and the Academy. But because we'll still sell this one product until this weekend. So you have until the weekend, which will be, let's see the calendar here. We're around the 17th of April. If you don't own PowerScan Pro. If you buy PowerScan Pro, you automatically get Optionality Pro, and that's how you do it. You can either wait for the Trading Academy, in which case you'd have access to all the products. We'll be able to sell that this coming weekend also. Or you can just get the product now. And now remember, here's the other nice thing, is you get to apply, if you do buy the product, you can apply that towards the Training Academy. you get credit for that, because it's only fair, because the training academy includes all the products, right? So if you already bought the product, then you should get discounted on that somewhat on the training academy. All right. Okay. Yeah, I just made another note here. We'll still sell PowerScan Pro as a standalone until this weekend. Quick overview of the academy. What's this training academy about? Well, it's going to come out, be available to enroll this weekend, and then we'll send out a big announcement about that. And it's all we're going to have anymore on the website. It's going to have huge information, give you free access to all of our products. It's going to have 10 live webinars with lots of written material. All of our products are free. Emphasis on stable, longer-term trading, safe strategies, grow an IRA or 401k, etc. That is going to be killer, because the entire world is clamoring for that. You know, if a show I've watched frequently on CNBC is called American Greed. It's kind of a documentary on Ponzi schemes and famous fraud cases, things like that. You know, like Bernie Madoff kind of thing. And the one thing I noticed that they all have in common is that they all convince these people, these poor people, these retired, old, elderly people and all that kind of thing, to give them all their money, and then they get swindled and they lose it all. And I'm thinking, how does that happen? It's because they convince people they're going to get a really fat return on their investment. And I'm thinking, if you convince people you can get a return on your investment, they just throw money at you. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm thinking, yeah, but it's too bad they have to be criminal. That's what it gave me the idea. I'm thinking, well, hell, why can't I just set up an academy that teaches people how to do it themselves? You don't need Bernie Madoff. You don't need these people. You don't need a financial advisor. Just do it yourself. And that's the idea, right? So this could be really big, this nice 401k management thing. And I'm going to work with everyone in the live webinars and elsewhere until you get it. We'll even extend the webinars if people still aren't totally getting it. As a matter of fact, there's officially 10 webinars, but there's really at least 11, because one thing we're going to do is at the end of the 10 webinars, I'm going to ask people, what do you want to see? What's something that's missing? What else do you need to know? And whatever that is, we'll do one more at least with that information. So it's going to be really good stuff. All right. I'll take questions now, but otherwise, I want to thank you for attending. Oh, wait a minute. One more thing. To download Optionality Pro, you go to garsworld.com and go to the Downloads tab. All right. There's a download tab at the top of the website. The Academy actually will begin its first live webinar on May 4th. There'll be early registration discounts, I think, which will be announced this weekend. All right. Thanks for attending.